You're 27, your phone screen glows in the dark. Bank balance, negative $412. Rent is due in 3 days. You already know the landlord's text is coming. You can feel it in your chest before it even arrives. You lie there on the thin mattress, staring at the cracks in the ceiling, and the number loops in your head like a bad song. Negative 412, negative 412. You owe $23,000 on 3 credit cards. The minimum payments alone are bigger than your grocery budget. You ate plain rice and an egg for dinner again tonight. This is not rock bottom. This is just Tuesday. You get up at 6:30 because the job starts at 8 and the bus is always late. You wear the same black shirt you've worn 3 days in a row. The collar is starting to fray, but nobody notices. Or maybe they do and they just don't say anything. At work you smile, you nod, you answer emails while your stomach tightens every time the phone vibrates. Is it the bank? Is it the collection agency that called yesterday and left a voicemail in that calm, threatening voice? You tell yourself, one day this will be a story I laugh about, but right now it doesn't feel like a story. It feels like your life. And the voice inside your head, the quiet one that never sleeps, whispers the same thing every night. You are failing. Everyone else figured it out. You didn't. Months bleed into years. You switch jobs. The new salary is $52,000 before taxes. It feels like winning the lottery until you do the math. After rent, transport, the cheapest health insurance, and the debt payments, you have $480 left each month. You start paying the smallest card first. Every extra $20 you throw at it feels like blood you're squeezing from your own veins. One Friday evening, you transfer the last payment. The card is zero. You stare at the screen for a long time. No fireworks, no celebration. Just a small, shaky exhale. You open a savings account and put in $200. Then you add another 100 the next month. The balance grows so slowly it feels insulting, but it grows. You hit $10,000 saved on a random Wednesday. You're 31 now. You sit in your car in the parking lot after work and you cry. Not pretty crying. Ugly, silent crying that makes your shoulders shake. Because for the first time in your adult life, you have a number that doesn't feel like it's trying to kill you. But the fear doesn't leave. It just changes shape. Now you're terrified of losing the 10,000. You check the balance every single day. You lie awake imagining scenarios where you have to spend it all. Medical emergency, car repair, getting fired. The money is a shield, but it's also a cage. You stop buying coffee. You stop going out. You say no to every invitation because every dollar spent feels like stepping closer to the edge again. The first rule reveals itself here, soft and brutal. Money doesn't remove the panic. It just gives the panic a different address. You keep grinding. Side hustle at night, another promotion, investments you barely understand, index funds your friend keeps talking about. You read articles on your phone at 1 a.m. while your eyes burn. Slowly, painfully, the number climbs. One ordinary morning, your net worth crosses $100,000. You don't scream, you don't tell anyone. You just sit on the couch in your slightly better apartment and feel nothing. A hollow kind of nothing, because now the game has new rules. You have a retirement account. You have a little stock portfolio. You have health insurance that actually covers something. You eat better. You sleep on a mattress that doesn't hurt your back. But the comparisons begin. Your cousin just bought a house. Your old roommate posts pictures from Santorini. You see people your age driving cars that cost more than your annual salary used to be. The voice in your head gets louder, more refined. 100,000 is cute. But it's not safety, not really. You start to notice how people treat you differently. Small things, the way your boss listens when you speak, the way the bank offers you a credit card with better limits, the way your mother finally stops asking if you're doing okay financially. You buy nicer clothes, not flashy, just clothes that don't scream broke. You move to a neighborhood where the streets are cleaner and the neighbors don't blast music until 3 a.m. And still, at night when the lights are off, you feel the same quiet pressure. Only now it's dressed up. It wears better shoes. The second realization creeps in during a quiet drive home one rainy evening. The hunger doesn't shrink when your number grows. It learns to speak in a calmer voice. You hit 500,000, then 800. Then, after a brutal year of 80-hour weeks and one lucky investment, you cross $1 million net worth. You are 36. You stare at the number on your laptop screen at 2:17 a.m. and wait for the wave of relief. It doesn't come. Instead, you feel a strange, cold clarity. You can quit the job tomorrow if you want. You don't. Because quitting would mean facing the question you've been running from for 15 years. Who are you when you're not proving you're not broke? You buy a small house. Nothing crazy. 3 bedrooms, small yard. You pay cash for a reliable car. You take your parents on a vacation they never thought they'd get. The external changes feel good for about 6 weeks. Then the new problems arrive, quiet and polite. Friends you haven't heard from in years suddenly need advice on their startups. Family members start dropping hints about helping with their kids' college funds. You learn the precise tone people use when they're calculating how much of your money they can ask for without sounding greedy. You become careful with your words. You stop telling people the exact number. You develop a vague smile and say, "I'm doing fine." Inside, the anxiety mutates again. Now it's not, "Will I have enough?" It's, "Will I lose everything and have to feel that original shame again?" The third rule lands like a quiet punch. At every level, the fear of falling back down is stronger than the joy of climbing up. You start making decisions from that fear. You diversify, you hire an accountant, you say no to risky opportunities that once would have excited you. Your relationships change. Some friends drift away because your schedules no longer match. Others stay, but the conversations feel slightly off, like they're waiting for you to pick up the bill or offer to invest. You date someone for a while. It ends when they admit, half drunk one night, that part of what attracted them was the idea of never worrying about money again. You smile, pay the bill, and never call them back. You are richer than you ever dreamed, and lonelier in ways you didn't know existed. The money keeps growing. 5 million, 8 million. You are 41. You have a financial advisor who calls you by your first name and sends you quarterly reports that look like small novels. You own a second property, a modest condo by the beach that you visit exactly twice a year. You fly business class now, but only when it's necessary. You still check prices on everything. Old habits don't die, they just get quieter. The internal shift is almost complete. You no longer panic when the market drops 2%, but you also no longer feel anything when it rises. You notice that joy has become abstract. You eat at better restaurants, but the food tastes the same. You sleep on $1,000 sheets, but the nightmares are still about being 27 and negative $400 in the bank. The voice in your head has become almost philosophical now. It says, you spent your whole life becoming the kind of person who would never have to feel that original pain again. Congratulations, you succeeded. Now what? 10 million, 15. People start calling you successful. You hate the word, because success, from the inside, feels like a permanent low-grade fever. You're never hot enough to burn, never cold enough to shiver, just off. You give money away quietly, not for praise, just because watching someone else escape the same cage you once lived in feels like the only pure thing left. But even that comes with its own weight. Gratitude can feel like debt. You turn 45, 25 million, 40 million. The numbers are now so large they feel fictional. You have a house with a pool you never use, a watch that costs more than your first car, a portfolio that could buy a small town. Yet every morning you still wake up and the first thing you do is open the banking app. Not because you need to, because the ritual is older than the money. The psychological transformation is total now. You trust almost no one completely. You measure every favor, every conversation, every relationship against the invisible scale of what do they want from the number. You have solved the problem of survival so thoroughly that survival is no longer interesting. Now the problem is meaning, and meaning, it turns out, does not accept wire transfers. You sit on the balcony of a hotel in a city you don't even like, $50 million richer than the version of you that once counted pennies for rice, and you feel the same hollow pressure in your chest that you felt at negative 412. It's just wearing a better suit. 70 million, 90. You are 51. $100 million net worth. The number appears on a spreadsheet one random afternoon while you're drinking black coffee and staring at the ocean you paid for. You wait for the final click, the moment when everything finally makes sense. It doesn't come. Instead, the quiet voice, the same one that kept you awake at 27, speaks one last time, softer than ever. You did it. You climbed every single level. You escaped the cage. You became the person the younger you prayed for every single night. And you are still you, the same fears, the same emptiness wearing new clothes, the same quiet knowledge that no amount of money will ever make the world feel safe enough, or fair enough, or finished enough. Because the game was never about the money. The game was about proving you were not the scared kid checking his balance at 3 a.m. And the brutal truth, the one no one says out loud, is this. That kid is still inside you. He always will be. At $0, he was desperate. At 10 million, he was strategic. At 100 million, he is simply tired. But he is still there, still whispering, still measuring every sunrise against the same old question. Am I enough yet? The money changed the scenery. It changed the clothes. It changed how people look at you. It never changed the question. You close the laptop. You look out at the ocean you technically own a piece of, and for the first time in 25 years, you don't check the balance again. You just sit there, breathing, knowing that tomorrow the number will be a little higher or a little lower and it will not matter, because the transformation is complete. And the final realization is the darkest one of all. You didn't become free when you reached 100 million. You simply ran out of levels to blame for the way you feel. The voice inside your head goes quiet, not because it's satisfied, but because it finally understands there was never a finish line. Only you, still here, still becoming, still carrying every version of yourself that came before, no matter how many zeros you add to the number.